If you still think AI is mainly a tool for programmers, you're already looking at the wrong story. In the United States, generative AI spread faster than the personal computer and the commercial internet did at similar stages, and Gallup now says more than half of US workers use AI in some part of their role. So the real question is no longer whether AI is coming. The question is whether ordinary Americans can learn to work with it before it quietly redraws what counts as valuable work, and the anxiety is real. Pew found that 52% of American workers are worried about the future impact of AI in the workplace, while only 36% say they feel hopeful. Almost a third think AI will mean fewer job opportunities for them in the long run. And only 6% think it will create more. That matters because fear changes behavior. A lot of people freeze, dismiss the technology, or assume they'll deal with it later. But later may be exactly when the gap gets harder to close. Here's the part most people don't expect. Some of the biggest gains from AI don't go to the top experts. In one major study of more than 5,000 customer support agents, I lifted productivity by 15% on average, with the biggest improvements going to less experienced and lower skilled workers. In another field experiment with 758 consultants, people using GPT-4 finished 12.2% more tasks, worked 25.1% faster, and produced work that scored more than 40% higher in quality. The below-average performers improved far more than the top performers. That changes the whole conversation. AI is not only a replacement story. It can also be a skill multiplier. That's why calling this a coding revolution is too narrow. Gallup says the most common ways Americans use AI at work are writing, research, and problem solving, not coding. LinkedIn says AI literacy was the fastest rising skill in the United States in 2025. And Indeed's data shows AI terms are showing up not just in tech jobs, but increasingly in data work, marketing, human resources, management, finance, and project roles. The labor market is signaling something important. Employers do not only want people who can build AI. They increasingly want people who can work intelligently with it. But there's a catch, and it's a serious one. The same consultant study found that when people used AI on tasks outside the model's actual competence, they became less reliable. They were 19 percentage points less likely to reach the correct answer than people who didn't use AI at all. NIST warns about exactly this kind of risk. Its generative AI profile lists confabulation, confidently delivered false content as a core danger, along with data privacy and information integrity risks. So the people who benefit most from AI are not the people who trust it blindly. They're the people who know when to press it, when to check it, and when to ignore it. That's the real meaning of AI literacy. It's not just typing clever prompts. It's knowing how to break a task into steps, ask for drafts instead of final truth, compare outputs against sources, and keep sensitive personal or company information out of places it does not belong. In other words, the winning habit is not automation first. It's judgment first. The prompt matters, but the loop matters more. Ask, inspect, verify, revise. That's not a slogan. That's the difference between getting leverage and getting fooled. There's another misconception that needs to die, that AI has already transformed every workplace from top to bottom. It hasn't. A major field experiment following more than 7,000 knowledge workers found that people with access to an integrated My tools spent 3.6 fewer hours a week on email if they used it heavily. But their meeting time did not significantly change. Gallup sees the same pattern at a higher level. Employees often report personal productivity gains. But the underlying way work is organized has changed much more slowly. So yes, I can save time. But unless managers redesign workflows, a lot of that time just disappears back into more work. What about jobs? The honest answer is not evenly and not all at once. The Bureau of Labor Statistics does not paint a simple mass extinction picture. It projects strong growth for software developers and personal financial advisors, continued growth for lawyers, and weaker or negative outlooks for some claims and insurance-related roles. That suggests AI is not simply erasing labor. It is reshaping which tasks are valuable, which roles grow, and where human judgment still commands a premium. In other words, the labor market is being rewired task by task, not flipped overnight like a switch. But the burden will not fall equally. Brookings found that while many highly exposed workers may still be able to adapt, about 6.1 million Americans combine high AI exposure with low adaptive capacity. These workers are concentrated in clerical and administrative roles, and 86% are women. That means the biggest risk may not be a dramatic national collapse. It may be a quieter divide where people in routine office roles lose bargaining power, lose career pathways, or get trapped in jobs that are slowly hollowed out before the public fully notices. So what should a normal American take from all of this? First, stop treating AI like a hobby for tech people. Second, stop treating it like a magic brain that should be trusted on autopilot. And third, stop waiting for perfect certainty. The strongest evidence says AI already helps many workers go faster and do better work, especially on drafting, synthesis, research, and structured problem solving. The same evidence says over-reliance can make you worse. So the practical move is simple: use AI where it is strong. Verify where the stakes are high and build the habit now while the standards are still forming. Because this may be the real story of the next few years in America. Not robots marching in and replacing every worker. Not some fantasy where AI does everything for everyone. But a new literacy divide. The people who learn to collaborate with these tools will buy back time, raise their output, and adapt faster as jobs change. The people who refuse to touch them or trust them too much may both lose. If AI becomes as normal as search, spreadsheets, and email, then the question is no longer whether you like it. The question is whether you can afford not to understand it.